everything's alright. Every night, just one thing on my mind. I'm just waiting on that moment. Waiting on my moment. You say, oh, you got that all shit. Hell no, next time that's mine. But as long as I stay hustling, I'm gon' shine. I'm just waiting on that moment.
Hello guys, and welcome back to Fisherman Huddle. We talked about a lot of things the last time, and today we're talking about something that's very, very simple and very basic in bass fishing. This is the starting point. You know, it was a starting point for me in my beginnings of bass fishing, and led me to great amounts of success. Learning this and mastering this one skill beyond all the other skills in bass fishing. You know, I nailed this down and how to use this. It became a backup for me when everything else wasn't working. This thing was guaranteed within my almost 5 years of bass fishing. You know, I threw Colorado blades and swim baits and all that good stuff and poppers, but this was the bait that I could rely on mostly out of those 5 years. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But first of all, let's get to the news and the meatiness and the fun stuff. In every sport, there's always that go-to thing, whether it's basketball, football, there's always that thing that people talk about a lot. And I forgot my hat. Okay. Now I feel a lot better. Now I feel like the nature boy. Okay, the nature boy's here. All right. One thing that people talk about a lot, like I said, in every genre of sports, basketball, football, there's always that go-to thing, that one thing that gets people excited. And in the bass fishing world, that is mystery tackle box. It's a cool thing that Carl's Bait and Tackle came up with. You know, they filled these boxes with certain baits, certain tackle, from jerk baits to lipless crankbaits. If you're a bass fisherman, you get you a bass box. If you're a beginner, you get the brown box. This was my first box, so I got the brown box. I really didn't know it at the time. But you get a pro box, you get a brown box, and also they have a variety of boxes. If you're a ice fisherman, you get an ice fisherman box. If you fish for trout, they get that. And like I said, if it's bass fishing, they got lures, baits for you, and they pack it out. The value of a mystery tackle box is about 30 bucks. But you can get them low for only $5. They might be having some promo codes or things available for new beginners or discounts, but I know for sure that some friends of mine that I watched for like 4 years, check out the Dugan Squad or my boy John B. I'm pretty sure all the time John B has promo codes, so you can check him out on YouTube. You know, especially around the early week, they probably have some promo codes going on. So check that out, get you a box, and get slamming with the mystery tackle box. And on to some other business. If you're not familiar with bass fishing and you're a new beginner, you're looking for great baits, great lures, and you don't want to go through the entire aisle of Bass Pro Shops trying to find and narrow down that one thing or doing experiments. One thing that I know that counts, and you can try some of their baits, some of their lures. I've been working with, Strike King, their baits for, probably like 3 years. This is a KVD Perfect Plastic made by Strike King. I use their product a lot, very heavily. They go from, worms to swim baits to Colorado blades to square bills to lipless crankbaits. They have it all. So I've been using their baits for a long time. Moving right along to the main topic today, we're going to be talking about the one bait that put me over in bass fishing from the start. I saw a guy, right across from me pulling out fish back to back, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he showed me a zoom worm. he had a package of Zoom worms and gave me one, but it was all black Zoom worm. He gave me that. I went out, didn't catch anything, but I worked that bait. Went back the next day, I caught up my first bass. Went out the next day and just kept racking them up. But over a period of time, I learned how to use it myself, you know, and through teaching, I learned how to use a Texas rig. You know, Texas rig is very simple. You get you a Texas rig hook. I prefer 1/0 hook and a weight. It all depends on the deepness of the water. You know, if it's heavy moving current, you're going to use heavier weights. And basically, tie it, put your bullet weight on first, put your bullet weight on through, and you tie your Texas rig on, and you put it a little bit through the top. You pull it through like so, pull that through, and you put it through the back of that worm, pull it through, and you tuck it in a little bit more up under the skin. It takes, I mean, very, very simple technique, very basic technique for bass fishing. You know, when all the bass fishermen, they use the jerk baits, lipless crank baits, Colorado blades, and they throw everything else. You know, they say, hey man, we're not gonna waste your time. We're gonna throw like a drop shot, Texas rig, you know, something far as a worm. But this is a very basic technique. You know, the way I do it is the way it works for me for almost 5 years. I launched that bad boy out with the Texas rig set up. Let it sink to the bottom. I preferably all black. It's worked for me for almost 5 years. So I throw that at the bottom and I give that bait light twitches. Hit the bottom, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Keep it in that same spot. Now let it sit and I'll pop it 1, 2. Let it sit for like 2 seconds, 1, 2. Make sure it lays at the bottom, 1, 2. And I continue it out, very, very light movement. It's all about movement, because all these fish have a code of attack. You know, like you're pushing in password. You're trying to unlock a lock. You hit certain points. You know, if in that fish's brain, it's used to seeing a fish move in a certain way, like 1, 2, kind of subtle, 1, 2. They move in a certain way. Their mind is glued to that motion. So if it's moved in that certain way, those fish will hit it. You know, that's what bass fishing is all about. Finding that niche, what these fish like. Not only what they like, the color, the texture, but how you're supposed to move it. And I've experienced, if I move a bait in a certain way, the fish will hit it. If I don't move in a certain way, they won't touch it. And so that's what bass fishing is all about, getting that code down and how these fish like their baits move. You can try it on a Ned rig. Ned rigs is simple. You know, it's like a little small weight with a hook inside the weight. And the reason why that technique works is because, you know, whenever you see a worm at the bottom, they're digging. So that Ned rig keeps that worm's tail up. Keeps it up in the up motion, where it's just up like that. And it's the same way you use it, but really, like I said, realistically, you know, you want to move those baits a certain way, and that's very, very simple, man. You know, like I said, I learned this skill. You know, my first beginning of bass fishing is very, very simple. You know, it's that go-to thing when everything else is not working. It's a skill that needs to be learned. You know, because it's a key. You know, if everything else is not working, that worm is not working. If the worm's not working, the fish are not there, or they're just not biting at all. So preferably black, all black trick worm, or a red pumpkin, you know, a natural color. You know, Like I said, very, very simple technique, not much to it. So you can get picked up at Bass Pro Shops. They're very, very cheap baits. You know, some from $2, $3, all depends on who makes it. That's price differs or texture and stuff, but you know, get in a Bass Pro Shop, Walmart, Sporting Goods, and go out and work that Texas rig hook. Keep popping and working your skills because you're going to need it. Those fish are finicky and you don't want to bite. And so that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed the show, and go out and do some simple technique bass fishing and get you some monster fish. And like I always say, until next time, remember, keep it out.